From the virtual newsroom of Impact Alpha, this is your Impact Briefing for Friday, November 20th. I'm Monique. Today, we'll follow up on this week's Agent of Impact call, which put a gender lens on the COVID recovery. We'll hear from Secha Capital's Kuhle Mnisi and Wukina's Maureen Sibanda, who are this week's Agents of Impact.
The key factor and the key thing that we saw Wukina bringing to South Africa and a need to South Africa is income in a different form, in a form that allows women to be able to make money in a way that suits them best and to use the resources around them.
But first, here's what you need to know from this week in impact investing. U.S. sustainable investing, broadly defined, tops $17 trillion, 1/3 of all assets under management. U.S. SIF, a network of sustainable and responsible investors, released its biennial survey and found that investors using at least one ESG strategy added more than $15 trillion from the start of 2018 through the end of 2019. That's quadruple the growth rate of assets overall, and has accelerated even more this year. Meatpacking plants have been hotbeds for COVID outbreaks. That's part of the larger pandemic risk among major food producers, and investors are banding together to try to reduce it. FAIR, a coalition of investors representing $25 trillion in assets, is working with 8 major food producers to improve worker and food safety, animal welfare, and antibiotic stewardship. 3/4 of animal protein firms are at high risk for pandemics, according to FAIR's Protein Producer Index. Special purpose acquisition companies are on a fundraising tear. 80 SPACs raised $32 billion in the third quarter, 20 more listed in October. One of the latest, Better World Acquisition Corp., raised $110 million on the NASDAQ for a Healthy Living SPAC and is on the hunt for companies in sustainable agriculture, renewable energy, and the circular economy. And MycoWorks raised $45 million to make animal and plastic-free leather from fungi. The mycelium fast-growing, protein-rich root structures are also used by Colorado-based alternative meat company, Mnisi. You can read all of these stories and more at impactalpha.com. Norway's prime minister said recently women's labor participation contributes more to Norway's prosperity than its petroleum reserve. On this week's Agent of Impact call, we gathered capital providers and entrepreneurs from Lahore, Lagos, Johannesburg, and elsewhere who are adopting gender lens investing to drive a more sustainable recovery from COVID. On the call, the International Finance Corp and CDC Group launched a guide to gender-smart investing for private equity fund managers. We were impressed with Wukina, a South African beauty enterprise that is helping rural women earn extra income as digital sales agents. It's a portfolio investment of Secha Capital, a small business investor in Johannesburg. We followed up with Wukina's Maureen Sibanda.
The idea of Wukina came about because I have a history in sales and I love hair. As a black female, I, my friends, my family, we all spend a lot of money on our hair. We rely on one another, suggested products, brands, and styles. For far too long, the profit for female products has set on people outside the country, and honestly, it's usually men. I worked with Avon and similar companies before. Wukina felt like the best way to sell beautiful quality products to a community of women who really need extra income and a trusted brand. I have a background in sales, digital marketing, but I had been looking for a way to connect with my passion for beauty and for Africa. I was connected to Wukina and the Secha Capital team because we all had a similar idea, and I wanted to grow a community of women in business. They had the background in securing bundles and designing hair. We were aligned in the same mission and vision of the company and the potential it had to grow, but mostly to empower women while doing so. The reason why we've been reaching out to women more in the rural areas. In short, just because you live in the big city does not mean you do not want to look good or earn an extra income of money or have money to spend. Women in these areas are ignored by the hair market And it's very expensive for them to transport to large malls and to trust that an online order will get to them. Our community focuses on solving those issues for them.
Tech-enabled startups like Wukina are getting products and services to hard-to-reach consumers and helping informal entrepreneurs boost their incomes and carve paths into the formal economy. Wukina received funding from Secha Capital. Here's Secha's Mnisi.
What has been so exciting has been the rural women that have been impacted by this model. So what we're doing is that we're providing a service, we're providing a luxury good that every woman should be having, but because of location, perhaps because of cost, this is something that these women are not having access to. And so what we're seeing on the ground is women firstly having access to a product that they ordinarily wouldn't have access to. We're seeing women being able to create second incomes, which has been so amazing to witness. Women that some have full-time jobs, some have lost their jobs, and they are able now to provide for their families.
Secha's investing strategy opened their eyes to the gender factors.
We started off really prioritizing two things. Firstly, diversity, the power of having a diverse team on the ground, and secondly, investing in markets with inefficiencies. And we actually just stumbled upon having a portfolio of about 80% female founded small businesses. And so that has been very interesting. Just focusing on market inefficiencies has inadvertently resulted in investing in women-owned businesses. And, even in our own team, we are about 50% women, which we wouldn't be able to do what we do without having this diverse team. Our focus on having that diversity in gender helps us to create a pipeline in a way that covers all of South Africa.
You can see Maureen, Kuhle, and all of our agents of Impact on Instagram at Impact Alpha. That's going to do it for your Impact Briefing this week. Impact Alpha subscribers get the brief delivered to their inbox, plus full access to Impact Alpha, including subscriber-only calls, Slack channels, and much more. New subscribers can go to impactalpha.com/subscribe and get a full year for only $199. That's 50% off, our best offer for the year. Thank you for listening, and thanks to our producer, Isaac Silk. I'm Monique Aiken, VP of Programs at Mission Investors Exchange. Make sure you check back for the next Impact Briefing the week after Thanksgiving. Till then, take good care.